back in 2009, the BBC asked me if I would be on a program called The World's Strictest Parents. I didn't know if I should be offended by that. I was like, wow. But then I looked up the word strict actually, and I found out that it meant a person who governs themselves by a certain set of principles. According to that standard, I am the world's strictest parent. I really am. I am diehard on principles, and I bring myself back to them all the time. Not that I'm perfect, but I shoot for the ideal every day. When I did that program, they brought me two troubled teenagers, ages 17, both of them, a girl and a boy. Not a new thing for me. I know I look like a young mom, but I did foster care for troubled teens for many years, ages 12 to 18. And I learned a lot of things in the process, which are some of the things I teach parents about how to teach their children to govern their own behaviors. Well, anyway, these two 17-year-olds came and had tantrums, little kid-type tantrums, for 2 days and ran away. And after 2 days of that, both of them stood in front of me and they said, calm, calm, calm. You're always so calm. It makes me so mad that you're so calm. Suggesting that should I lose control so that they can impress their friends back home in the UK with getting me engaged in some sort of a fight, then they would choose to be calm. Well, I wasn't born yesterday. A power struggle does not help a person become calm. And I know that because I've lived with some of the hardest kids that Utah can turn out. I have. I worked for the Utah Youth Village for many years, and that is a very troubled youth facility. So the next day, they were all calm, and they could follow instructions, and they were happy, and it was a totally different set of British teenagers. And I said to Hannah, Hannah, for 2 days you've been having tantrums, and now all of a sudden you're calm and happy. What happened? And she said something that every parent should take note of. She said, well, at my house, if I yell, I get my way, or at least somebody yells back. But here, you guys were just so calm. It didn't do any good, so I just chose to be calm too. That one statement teaches 5 lessons. These are 5 lessons from Hannah. Number 1, if you power struggle with children, you encourage them to power struggle more. It gives them a false sense of power, as if they're doing something worthwhile. Lesson number 2, if parents govern themselves and stay calm, then the children choose to be calm too. Calmness is environmental. It can be felt. It is spiritual, in fact. Number 3, a loving tone and a consistent structure in the home. Consistency is hard, parents. I know this. Keep trying. Find your principles. Find your skills. Be consistent. This changes the hearts of children so that they will willingly obey their family members. Lesson number 4, changing a heart cannot be forced. When I talk about teaching a person self-government, I am talking about helping a person have a change of heart. That is a choice. And you have to have the type of environment that encourages that choice. You have to be learning self-government so that you're a safe person to teach it. Lesson number 5, anger, sadness, all of those other things, frustrations, you can't blame those on another person. Hannah couldn't blame them on me because I wasn't giving her any fuel. None. At the end of the day, she had to be calm. By the time they left, if you watch the BBC show, it was The World's Strictest Parents. If you go to my website, which is teachingselfgovernment.com, there's a video tab. If you click the video tab, you can see this show. And at the end of the show, you see Hannah and James bawling because they don't want to leave. What you don't see is that right before that scene when they're bawling, they looked at us with tears streaming down their faces and they said, please, don't make us go. We feel so safe here. What? The world's strictest parents are also the world's safest parents? Yes. Children want structure. They want skills. They don't want somebody to make them figure out everything all on their own. That's too overwhelming. Self-government is being able to determine the cause and effect of any given situation and possessing a knowledge of your own behaviors so that you can control them. C.S. Lewis, one of my favorite authors, wrote a book called The Abolition of Man. In The Abolition of Man, he said that mankind was in danger of being abolished because there were men without chests, meaning hearts or spirits. This was back in the 40s. I wonder how far we've come. He says that man is made up of three things, and I agree with him, that we have a body which handles all of our feelings, our sensations, our emotions, all of those desires and things that would lead to pornography and such. Then we have a mind. Our mind handles our logic. It rationalizes what the body wants. Then we have a chest or a heart. That is where the will of the person is. This is the strongest place inside each of us. This is what makes us actually turn the alarm off when it goes off in the morning and get up instead of the snooze. The snooze is the body, okay? The heart makes you get up and start the day. That is the strongest place, and those strong-willed children, boy, do they have potential for power. We are at battle constantly with ourselves. Our hearts must be the governing force within us. Otherwise, we are in bondage. Happiness and freedom come with a price. I learned that price when I was 14 years old. The relationship with my parents was destroyed. They never let me do anything, and all we ever did was fight. One day I was talking with a neighbor of mine. She was very wise, and she said to me, "Nicolene, have you ever thought of just saying okay?" And I was like, "What? That would never work. That's what they want me to say." And she said, "No, believe me, this will get you more of what you want. You go home for 2 weeks and say okay every time they tell you no to something and every time they tell you to do something. And if you do that, then you will get more of what you want." I went home, it was my dish night. They said, "Nicolene, it's your dish night." And I said, "Okay." And I stood up and I did the dishes. Both my parents went, "Did you do that? Who did that? Did you talk to her?" They were amazed, and I all of a sudden felt something. Power. I had this massive amount of power, and for 2 weeks I watched the power build and build. I could do anything I wanted. My parents would let me do anything because I had learned to say okay and to respect them. Our roles were in the right places, but not only did I end up learning I had that power, I also learned I had the power to love, the power to connect to my parents again, the power to govern myself. Everyone has that power. There are no excuses. We live in perilous times. Our families are literally under attack. Do you feel it? The hearts and minds of our young people have targets painted on them. They want to confuse them, to distract them, to disconnect them from the very people that can teach them where happiness comes from, their parents. Learning happiness is environmental. You have to have a certain kind of a tone, a certain kind of a structure, a vision of what you're going toward and what you need. It's called inauguration. And you need to know skills, like how to follow instructions from your parents, how to accept no answers, disagree appropriately, and accept consequences. If you teach your children to govern themselves, they will be like Benjamin Franklin. He made a list of 13 things. After he conquered his 13 vices one by one, he was a sage of wisdom for the world. Our children need that power. They are under attack. Bless them with self-government. God bless.